and Jesus.
Yo, guys, what's good?
Today, we're interviewing my friend Danielle.
Hi.
Whatever.
So how did you guys meet?
Oops, sorry, I
Oh
interrupted
my- Always.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The blooper.
Okay, sorry. What were you gonna say?
I said, so how did you guys meet? Just like that.
Well, we actually met because of the dogs, because we were doing dock diving, and I don't want to say we got hired at the same place, but we started, what would you say, volunteering, Danielle?
Yeah, volunteering.
Volunteering our time at the same dock diving facility, and
So you guys are doing it for free? Is that what you told me?
Well,
No,
define
not
free.
necessarily.
So okay.
In exchange for services, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So sexual favor. No, I'm just kidding. So it was.
Where can I sign up?
No, we were exchanging our time for like money off of our entry fees. So we would work for them, and then we would get like a certain discount on the amount of dog or jumps that we signed up for, per dog, whatever. So it was kind of a long story. But her and her friend Brittany, who's also now my friend, they volunteered at the same place, and then I was kind of just. They asked me, we think you'll get along with these girls really well. You know, we think you'll be a perfect match. And so they bring me to the first competition. These guys are freaking bitches to me, all right? They're just
Both
like,
of us?
No, Brittany was nice. Okay.
I thought it was a bitch.
No, Brittany was like nice, but she was
Damn.
hesitant. She was hesitant because she didn't know me. So Brittany was nice, but like they were kind of like the crew, right? They came in with like their pre-made friendship. Like they knew each other before. I didn't know them, so I was just
They're
like
we're
the
gonna
odd one out.
bully the new girl.
Not at all.
Girl, yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
we wear pink on Wednesdays, and you can't
Yeah,
sit
you
with
can't
us.
sit with
No,
us.
I'm just kidding.
That's what it was like. They were like, "Don't sit at our table. We have Malinois, and you just
Literally,
have
I'm
a border
like,
collie."
don't sit.
Yeah, like I was just this weird girl who had a Aussie that barks too much and a border collie, and they were like, "Yeah, she can't sit with us too." And so, like, this is how it all started, right? Is the first day I was learning my first competition ever. I've never worked there. I have no training prior to this event. They were training me on site, and I'm entering the scores, and I had to have someone double check the scores was the rule. So Danielle comes to double check the scores, right? And it just so happened that I entered her dog's score incorrectly, and she's like, Gambit's score was entered wrong, all like mean to me, right? And I was like, oh.
She was ready to
Sorry.
fight you, dude. She was like,
She
what's
was,
up
dude, like,
then? No, I just kidding.
she like got me a drink later, and it definitely had poison, so I poured it out. No,
It was bubbling, but it was a water. Like, something ain't right.
Yeah.
Something ain't right.
Yeah, it was a little cloudy, but she was like, it's fresh. The bottle hasn't been open, you know? And so she tells me, like, she did have mad attitude. She was like, Gambit's score was entered wrong. And she had the eyebrow look, you know? It was like the Hispanic RBF type of thing. And I was like, oh, well, I'll fix it. And so, like, it was rude, but I was trying not to be rude, but I was, like, nervous. So then I think I was rude back. I don't know. And then I was like,
Yeah, you were,
yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I was like, I do not like her. Like, ugh. And so, like, I fixed the
She
score.
gave you the toot. You gave her the toot back, dude.
Yeah, and then, but that was the worst part, is like we both gave each other attitude, and then we just stood there like, So anyways, yeah, so then we just went on with our day. And so then in my mind, I was like, I'm never talking to that bitch again. I hate her. She's mean. And so like I was all mad, but I had vodka in my car. So that day passes. It's the next day. I had brought vodka in my car because I was like, I'm going to go take some shots, because we had like a 13, 14-hour day there. So I was like, when I have some like free time, I'm going to run to my car, take some shots, at least have a buzz going for this, like standing in the cold, because it was in January, so it was
cold, yeah.
And the water was cold. Like my dogs were cramping in the water. Yeah, it was crazy. So then, like, she was sitting next to me, and I was like, well, like, I've got some vodka if you want some. And boom, a spark.
Best friend.
A spark was lit. And we've been friends since that day.
She's like, you're kind of cool.
Yeah. She was like, damn, she told me, I think I had the wrong opinion of you. I thought you were a dirty, conniving little bitch.
I did not say that.
She did not.
Call out.
No, but then we like just
you
became
look
friends
dirty.
After that. Yeah. So then Brittany ended up like moving. So then we were just like, great, I guess we're stuck with each other. And no, but then we ended up just like being friends after that, and then here we are.
I think we had hung out like on the 4th of July or something. Like you had invited me over, and then I was like, okay, why not? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably didn't have my kids or something, so went over, and then we just got shit-faced. Oh yeah, and then I had to work that night.
Yeah, you had to go to work all late,
yeah,
and you
it
were
was
wasted.
a little crazy.
Yeah, and then she had to see my mom in straight Angela mode, dude.
That's the
She
first
got
time I
all
met your
drunk,
mom, actually.
and she was going woo woo in the living room, and I was like, leave, take her home. Like I was all embarrassed. I made Tyrone take her.
Well, I love your mom.
You're like, your mom is so funny. I was like, I gotta go to sleep. Like
you're
I was all
you're
embarrassed.
all mad and mean to
All
her. I'm like, God,
crying.
you're so mean to your mom.
I had like hardcore PTSD coming back from my childhood, and you were like, she is so funny, and I
I
was
know.
like,
I'm
get
like,
out.
you're so lucky
Get
you have a
out.
mom. I'm just kidding.
You're so lucky. What's it like to have a mom? Not fun. No, I'm just kidding.
You're like, it's not good.
This is not an experience I'd like to. I wish I'm my worst enemy. No.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. So, anyways, that is the story of how we met. So it kind of goes from there.
So you guys became enemies to frenemies
In like
just
overnight.
friends.
yeah, literally,
Yeah, now
like,
she abandoned me, just like everyone else in my life.
yeah.
Just kidding.
Oh my God, here it goes. The other day, she said it's a
Damn.
like, it's alright, dude. Like, I mean, I'm used
I'm
to
used
being
to
abandoned.
it.
I was like, I'm not
used
abandoning
to
you.
it. Shit.
Oh, I said, I'm not abandoning you. I'm just moving. Like, we're still gonna talk. Like, I swear I'll fly you out. Like, ask Jesus. Jesus and I have been living in separate states, and we see each other all the time and talk every day. Like, it's gonna be
Yeah,
fine.
that's why I'm like, we're not gonna see each other. We lived in the same state, practically the same city, and weren't seeing each other. And I'm like, oh God, she already
Well,
broke up with me a long time ago.
in my defense, we did work opposite shifts for a long time. I worked during the day, and then she went in to work at 5 p.m. and worked until I worked. So then I would go into work, and when she was getting out of work. So
Remember in the good old days, I would go to your house sometimes and like make you breakfast.
yeah, she would make me
fall
breakfast.
asleep on your couch.
Dude, back when she liked me or whatever, when she was hyper fixated on our newfound
Before you got a
friendship.
boyfriend? I'm just kidding.
I'm all no, because I was dating.
Oh,
Anyways.
he
So
was
salty,
He-
dude. So
Who
salty.
what do we call him?
Oh yeah, we don't.
The
speak
one
his
we don't
name.
speak of. Yeah, we don't speak his fucking name in
Yeah.
this church. I'm just kidding. Like, it's like, may the power of Christ. No, I'm just kidding. Upon his name. But yeah. So like, technically, you would come over. She would come over, and I would be grooming because I groomed in my fucking living room like a loser, dude. And she would come over and like make me breakfast, and we would like drink, and she would help me groom. And then she got a different job, and then we just didn't get to hang out during the day. And then yeah, shit hit the fan, dude. Everyone was moving, everyone was breaking up, everyone was suicidal.
Yeah, I got a boyfriend and went through a breakup, and then you had your stuff going on, and it just kind of life happened, I guess.
But we still talk. Like literally, me and Danielle are the kind of friends, dude. We won't talk for like 6 weeks, and we'll be like secretly mad, like fuck her, dude. She didn't even text me back. And like
won't say anything.
Yeah, and then won't say anything to each other, and then all of a sudden she'll call, be like hello, and she's like, dude, guess what? And then we'll catch up on like 6 months worth of like details, and we're like shit. But
like,
we both
damn.
talk fast, so it only takes 5 minutes to do that catch up.
And then we forget like half the stuff we were gonna tell that person anyways, but that's how we roll. Can you guys turn dogs?
Yeah, I can hear them. I know. Instead of saying shh,
Sure.
she literally wants to be like, shut your dumb fucking mouth.
Shut
I
up.
know it, because that's what I would do.
sure.
Didn't even hear it.
Which wants to be on the show?
Torch wants to be famous.
So hey, guys.
So speaking of your new job and your shifts changing and stuff, tell us like about being a nurse. Like, how did you become a nurse? Like, why did you become a nurse? I guess was it just like that's what you wanted to do forever, or did you just decide randomly?
Yeah, no, like I just like I've been asked that question before, like on job interviews, and it sounds like cheesy or whatever, but I just always like wanted to be a nurse. Like I used to watch like ER all the time, like on TV, or like those Rescue 911 shows, and I just like felt like I always wanted to be a nurse. So when I graduated high school,
she was feeling Grey's Anatomy real good.
I have actually never watched Grey's Anatomy.
Dude, she doesn't even know about 007, dude. Don't
like
tell her.
I've only seen a couple random episodes, and I don't even know why I saw them. But yeah, I don't really. I've never seen Grey's Anatomy. I know, I'm weird, but
I know, O'Malley, no.
Yeah, I have no idea like about that and Friends. I've never really seen Friends. Anyways,
I forgot.
I know,
That's
I'm horrible.
good. That's good though.
I'm the
Friends
worst.
isn't good.
ADHD and TV, it doesn't work for me.
Jesus said Friends isn't good. Fuck you, Jesus. Yeah, it is.
Jesus, you're about to lose some
Fight me,
followers.
dude.
Don't say that out loud.
Fight me. I don't care. DM me. We'll fight on this opinion.
I'm gonna message
I've
you
seen
right
a few
now.
episodes of Friends, more than I've seen of Grey's
I
Anatomy.
love Friends because it was.
And
like
I've seen it twice. I've seen it
All of
once when I was younger, and then
Wait,
once
the
when I
whole
was
season
older.
or like an episode?
The whole shebang.
Oh,
All
damn.
seasons.
Wow.
The whole show.
You're gonna tell me you didn't think the episode where they're moving the couch up the stairs. It's like, pivot, pivot. Like, you're telling me that shit's not funny, dude? Because I think of it anytime I move a couch. Like, I cannot.
He clearly thinks it's funny.
He thought it was
laughing
funny.
very hard.
He can't even catch his fucking
Okay,
breath,
I
dude.
just remembered the episode where Rachel's dreaming, and then I think Ross falls down the stairs or whatever, and it's a mannequin.
It's
and
not
she's
even
like,
a dream.
Oh my
dream, yeah.
They set her
And
up
she's like-
because like he has the kid, and they get the mannequin, and like the kid starts running away and pretends to fall down the stairs, but they toss the mannequin, and she's like screaming because she thought he died. Or dude, like the baby chicken and the duck, like when he gets stuck in the the foosball. What? Not foosball. What's it called? Is it called foosball?
The entertainment center.
No, it is a foosball table. It's not ping pong. Yeah, foosball table. And then they have to break it apart. Like, there's a lot of funny shit, dude. But whatever, it's not funny, so we won't talk about it. I'm just kidding.
You get all mad.
I like have rarely finished like any complete seasons of a show. Like just Game of Thrones and then How I Met Your Mother. That's the only thing I've ever watched. Like
I've never finished Game of Thrones, dude. I've never watched it, so that is.
I was
weird.
like religious about.
Me neither.
Like
neither.
I would never work on a Sunday.
You've never worked on a Sunday?
No, I mean like during Game of Thrones, I was like, bro, I gotta have Sunday off. I can't. That's when Game of Thrones comes out.
You're like, I can't do it, dude.
The new episode, I
new
cannot
episode.
work.
Sorry, we literally asked you an important question, and you were like, I watched ER, and then like you're telling us like a heartfelt story. We're like, dude, but Grey's Anatomy, and we just went off
this
topic.
show's the best.
Yeah, we're like pivot, like 2 minutes into your fucking heartfelt story, so I'm like, no sense.
It's okay. That's how all of our conversations go.
Right, dude.
But yeah, so I just like always wanted to be a nurse, and so when I graduated high school, like I already knew like what I wanted to do, so I like just started applying right away, and yeah.
But you're just okay. I don't want to say you're just okay because it's a huge accomplishment. I was about to be
an LPN.
Yeah, so you're an LPN, but you're back in school now.
Yes, I'm an LPN. I've been an LPN for almost 15 years. I dropped out of RN school. After your first year, you can sit for your state boards and get your LPN, and that's what I did. And I moved away for college, so I moved back to Phoenix after my first year and after I got my license because I hated living in a small town, and yeah. So I just figured, I'll go back to school, and then like literally almost 15 years later, I'm back in school.
You're like, here it goes, dude.
Yeah, and I have like all my prereqs and everything. I just like literally just need my nursing courses at this point.
So you're not from Phoenix then?
So I was actually born in Washington, and then I lived in Tucson, like for a majority of my younger years. So from like 2 years old to, I don't know, like 11. And then I moved to Phoenix when I was like 12 or 13. 12.
Okay, but when you were born in Washington, how soon was it till you guys moved to Tucson?
So my brother was born in Arizona. So we're 2 years apart.
Like little.
Mm-hmm, yeah. So like my parents were both in the Army. So I had actually.
This put the twist.
Yeah, they were both in the Army. That's how they met, I think. And so I was born in Washington, like on Fort Lewis, and my brother was born in Sierra Vista on Fort Huachuca. So my brother was born December like 88, and I was born August of 86. So we're 2 years apart. So I was living in Arizona by then, but like in the meantime, I had been to Belgium and like, I don't even have a passport.
You got your travels done young.
Yeah, I got all that out of the way when I was like, before I was 2. I can't even remember it, but
she was just smoking a cigar. She was like, "This is the life."
Life, you guys.
Right? She was like, I imagine her like as like a little 2-year-old and like spinning around in one of those chairs you couldn't see someone was in it. Like she was like Edna Mode size, and then she just had a cigar, but she couldn't speak.
Yeah,
a little bowl cut.
Yeah, I know she had a bowl cut. I saw
until I was 2, actually.
No, where's that picture? Didn't you have a bowl cut? The one where you look like Liam?
Oh yeah, with the where I'm like had my arm around the dog or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, you had like no.
I was like, my parents wanted me to be a boy, I think, because I definitely have male vibes.
My parents were gonna name me after my dad. Even if I was a girl, my name was Rudy, and they just put an I at the end of it, so my name was gonna be Rudy. And they barely changed that at the end. This is the worst part. They barely changed it like when I was born because my mom saw an episode of Montel, and the girl's name was Miranda. And she was like, "That's a cool
watch
name."
That show.
Really? Well, and so like on my mom's baby shower cake, there's pictures in my baby book, and it says "Welcome, baby Rudy," and I'm like, no, dude, no.
I don't even know if there's a girl named Rudy out there. Like, I hope there is, and I hope they hear this podcast, and I hope they message you.
Rudy
Alex Lovato was.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I met a patient once, and it was a little girl, and her name was Ryan, and I was like, that's actually kind of a cute name for a girl. So like, I don't know, maybe I would have jumped on that trend if I actually had a girl. I don't know.
I don't
Well,
know. I'd believe if I was in elementary school and I knew that girl's name was Ryan, I'd believe the fuck out of her. No, I'm just-
I'm like, damn, Jesus. So anyway, speaking of childhood, let's talk about some trauma. I'm just kidding. I won't bring it up yet, dude. So wait, you talked about your brother. How many siblings do you have? Like how many?
Okay,
And
so
what are the age differences here?
okay, so my brother and I are full brother. Okay, we're 2 years apart. So I'm the oldest child,
Oh, you
and
are?
and so then it's my brother. We're 2 years apart, and then I have a sister that's 7 years younger than me. And I also have 7 years younger. And then I also have 3 half siblings. So I have my mother has a son that's I think in his early 20s, I believe. And then my dad has 2 kids that are 2 boys, and they're I think like 9 years old, and one just turned 17. So
Oh shit! I thought you were gonna say like 7. I didn't realize he was that
they're
old.
like yeah.
Okay, and do you talk to
So wait. How old are you?
Okay, so I'm getting kind of up there in age, but I am 36. I'll be 37 this year. It's a tough subject. Let's avoid it. I'm just kidding.
her birthday is the day before Miles's birthday, and I mixed it up last year, and I'll never hear
Yeah.
the end of it.
Miles will never
Actually-
forget that.
Actually, it was the year before last.
Yes, it was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, because I texted Brandon
Yeah,
and I
because
was
this year
like,
she abandoned me on my birthday and we never celebrated. Just kidding.
Oh,
"Oh wow, dude, pivot."
Oh,
I'm
shots
she
sorry.
held it.
Oh,
She held it, dude. She was
She
waiting
waited,
for the
dude. She
chance to
waited for
tell
the
you.
podcast. She was like, "Remember when you abandoned me on my birthday?" Yeah. No,
She's
not
like, I'm
that.
gonna make you feel as bad as possible so you can come visit me.
Look, I'm not going to be the only one
Bitch.
crying today, okay?
No, we're all gonna shed some tears today.
Yeah.
Like,
Damn. We're all gonna
so-
put salt in those wounds.
yeah, exactly.
We ain't gonna heal today. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Nobody's healing. There's no room for healing in this friend group, dude.
Mm-mm.
We
We're
live
gonna be
with our
strong,
trauma.
okay?
Live by the trauma, die by the trauma. No, I'm just kidding.
Live by the trauma. No. You live by the ADHD. You die by the trauma. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. The
That's
ADHD is
exactly
what
it,
keeps
dude.
us going for sure.
So back to the siblings. So it was basically you, your brother, and your sister, though, like growing up,
Yes.
because your half siblings, you obviously they're like 2 years old, so like you didn't grow up with the younger ones, but then the 20-ish-year-old one, like you didn't have anything to do with, or you did.
Right. No,
Okay.
like the one that's okay, so he's how am I 36? So he's 34 now. So like him and then my sister, the only sister I have, I guess. We like grew up together, like
Okay.
kind of. Yeah.
Kind of grew up. Okay.
And then the other ones are like half siblings.
Sort of. I mean,
Yeah,
in a
we-
way.
in a way. So here comes the serious stuff. So with the siblings, I guess, okay, I don't even know how to word it. You guys all ended up at some point being in foster care.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Jesus had a question about that with your siblings
Okay.
being in foster care. So Jesus hit her with the blicky, bro. Jesus, we can't hear you. It's muted.
His face.
Because I fixed my chair and it makes noise. I forgot to bring it down.
I wish
thought-
that this was like,
I
video
can see
was recorded.
I can
This
see
is
his
funny.
mouth going like this.
I
And I'm like,
know.
is he faking us out, dude? Like, what's going
Oh,
on?
we can't hear you.
Okay, go ahead, Jesus.
Okay. I said,
So
okay. So when you guys got to foster care, did you guys get separated, or did they keep you guys together? What happened there?
Okay, so I was 11 years old and my brother was 9 and my sister was, I don't know, 7 minus 11, whatever. Or 11 minus what? 7, yeah, 'cause we're 7 years apart.
She's like,
So like 4, I don't know, 3 or 4?
this many.
4 years
just-
old. Yeah, and I don't remember like the month or anything like that. It was right before the holidays. So anyways, when we first got taken away, we went directly, like the police took us away. We went to a police station. And then from there, we lived in Tucson at the time, okay? So then from there, we went to this shelter called Casa de los Niños. And it's just like, basically, if there's nowhere to place these kids, right, that are taken in the middle of the night, they go to the shelter. And then they either go to foster homes or to family, whatever. So it's mostly kids that are like initially taken away from their parents. And so we were all together at that shelter. We lived in like different like dorms kind of a thing. So me and my sister were like on the same side and my brother was like on the boys' side or whatever, but we still got to see each other every day. It was literally the same campus. So yeah, initially we were all together.
So how long did you guys stay in that place for?
I honestly have no like recollection of the time frame. However, we did from there. So anytime a kid gets taken from their parents, the first thing that like DCS does is reach out to their family members to see if they're in some kind of place to be able to take this child because they want to keep them. The goal is always reunification with the family, with the parents. So they like to try to keep them in the family. However, people aren't always in a position to take on, children. But my dad's side of the family, who also lived in Arizona, my mom's side of the family lives in Kentucky. They started visiting us at the, shelter, and the plan was to figure out which one of them was going to take us. And so my grandma actually ended up being the person who, opened her home up to us to go to. So we ended up going to my grandmother's house in Naco, Arizona.
Where
which
the
not
fuck
many
is
people know
that?
about. It's literally next door to Naco, Mexico. So like it's literally
really?
I could walk across the street to literally Mexico.
Oh
Wow.
shit.
And that's
So it
like
was
where my
like a
dad
border
grew up
town,
or
like El
whatever.
Paso to Texas.
Yes.
The dogs are like, oh, freaking.
Sorry.
We
They're getting all
feel the
riled up.
anxiety.
They're like my
We feel
mom.
the
We don't
anxiety.
know what's going on over here.
So you're on the border of Mexico, basically. Did you guys go to school down there, or what ended up happening there?
So there's an elementary school there in Naco, Arizona. There's not many things. There's not a grocery store, like nothing like that. It's a very, very small town. Like I said, most people don't even know about it. But it's next to a town called Bisbee, Arizona, which more people know about.
I know where that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like literally like next door to Bisbee, like, I don't know, less than 10 minutes away. So yeah, we all went there, and I went to school there. I think I was in 5th grade at the time. And I did not last very long at my grandma's house.
Oh no. Okay, so what happens next? What's next in the timeline, bro?
So, I think like at that age, I was 11, like like any kid that gets taken from their family, even if it's not an ideal environment, is upset, right? That's all they know. They want to be with their family, whatever, right? And so I just was maybe a little rebellious at that age. So I made, a bunch of friends right away, like, and I got a boyfriend that was like, I mean, I had no business at 11 years old getting a boyfriend, but he was like in 8th grade
The streets
or
are
something.
calling. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was literally on the streets, bro, and I was like, my family was like, dude, my grandma did not speak English, and I don't really speak Spanish, so like, my aunts and stuff would be like, you need to get your shit together because you can't stay here if you're not going to follow the rules, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't care, like, whatever, send me away. And they literally sent me away. But I was not being respectful of like any of their rules. Like, I mean, my grandma, like, her bedtime was like 7 p.m. and I'm like, I'm going to be on the streets. Okay. Like, I can do whatever I want, like, whatever. Like, I was obviously going through some shit, but yeah, like I had a bunch of friends and like, we would just literally like be hanging out like at the railroad tracks and like, making out with boys. And I'm just like, yeah, that was not good ever, but I'm,
Where did they send you to?
So basically, it's a place. So basically, you're still in foster care, even though it's with your family. It's just called kinship foster care. So they have like a little more lenient rules, like on licensing and stuff like that. But anyways, so you are assigned a caseworker as soon as you go into the system. And so basically, if there's any issues at all, with anything, not necessarily behavior, but with anything in general with that, person, that's the main point of contact. So they contact my caseworker and they're like, dude, this is not working out. Like, she's not listening to us. Like, she's not following the rules. We cannot keep her here if she's not going to follow the rules. Like, it's a lot of stress on my mom. My grandma was old. So, yeah, so my caseworker was like, okay, like, we'll find her another placement. And that's exactly what they did.
Shit, dude. So are you still 11 at this point? Did this all happen within like 1 year?
Oh,
or did you make it like a year?
No, it happened like within months, I want to say. Like, there's actually a few grades that I actually didn't graduate from or like, complete. And that's,
okay.
I think them. And so, yeah, I think from there, I went to a shelter in Tucson.
Okay. So this is where you guys all got separated, you and your brother and sister?
Yes. So my brother and sister actually lived there. I mean, they grew up there. They did not grow up in foster care like I did.
Okay, so they stayed with
They
your
weren't
grandma.
rebellious. They listened.
Yeah, they weren't trying to like live that kind of life.
Okay, but wait, the story takes a turn. Okay, so you go to foster care again. Did you ever end up like in a permanent placement or like with someone, or did you just like stay in the shelter forever?
So no, I did not stay in the shelter forever. Okay, so from there I go, to a different group home in Tucson. That's where things got a little crazy. Like I was like, maybe I didn't want to be this rebellious, but
Yeah, you're like, oh shit, take me back.
Maybe
Yeah.
I learned my lesson today.
I'm like, wait, do I want to admit that I was wrong? Like, do I want to? Yeah, no. So it was, I mean, I met a lot of girls that I thought, like were my friends and like who I could relate to and stuff like that. But I definitely was getting into stuff that I shouldn't have been at, like especially at 11 years old. But anyways, I counted one time. I don't remember. I'd have to like sit down and count like how many placements I've been in, but it's been a lot of placements. And my problem was I ran away a lot. So when you run away, you really can't get your placement back usually. So it's kind of like, yeah, I've been in a lot of homes. Eventually I ended up with my mom's sister, who's my aunt, obviously, when I was like 16. So then when I aged out of foster care, I had been living with her for a couple of years.
Okay.
But in the meantime, from 11 to 16, I had multiple placements.
And did you still talk to your brother and sister during that time, or?
Yeah. So, when I lived in Tucson, actually, I did not really talk to my brother and sister. Like, I don't even remember if we ever saw each other really. When I ended up moving to Phoenix, which I think I was 13 years old, I ended up in a group home that was with my sister actually, and my brother was in there in another group home like that they owned, so like it was a company with multiple group homes. So my brother got placed in the male group home, and this was all temporary for them because they ended up going back to my grandma's, but I ended up staying here in Phoenix because by then I was 13 and I liked my school, I had friends, and I didn't want to go to my grandma's anyways.
Yeah.
And you're like, my grandma was mean. Nice.
Yeah. My grandma.
Like a Mexican grandma, dude,
I know,
or
it was like so nice. I was like, but I mean, I visited them every single, when I turned 13, like when I lived in this group home in Phoenix, they were really good about, they had staff members that I still actually talk to this day. There's 2 of them that I still talk to, and they would volunteer their time to drive me from Phoenix to Tucson to meet my aunts, and they would drive from Bisbee to Tucson. It's like a halfway mark. And so that way I could spend Thanksgiving and Christmas with my family every year.
oh shit, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
Damn.
okay.
The true
So
homies.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's some weird shit that happened because one time one of my ex-boyfriend's like friends came down to visit, and his girlfriend is originally from Arizona. And so like I had tagged her in a post and I said like, oh, like I'm at this place, and Danielle messaged me and she's like, hold the fuck on, like I know this person somehow. And like her aunt was one of those people, right? Like one of the people or something.
Her aunt. Mm-hmm. Her aunt actually, she's one of the people that I still talk to today. Yeah. And
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Like these people
I was
that
like,
literally
dude, I know
live
that
in New
girl.
Mexico. Yeah, these people that live in New Mexico and came to visit because they were friends with my ex-boyfriend just happen to like be the niece of the person who like helped Danielle when she was little. And we had just met like a year or 2 before that. So isn't that
Yeah.
weird?
That's crazy.
it was
That's a
pretty
small
weird,
world,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
It's freaking weird. And so here's the biggest question of them all. Drum roll. That was my microphone drum roll. How come or why did you guys end up getting taken in the first
foster care?
place?
Okay, yeah. So my dad actually got arrested. He had a normal job. He worked at he was like a telephone communicator. I don't know. He still does what he does. But anyways, so my dad had this normal like 9-to-5 job, right? Monday through Friday. So I had limited knowledge at that age as what was really going on. I mean, I've seen some shit, but like I just, didn't really know a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really little. So anyways, my dad and my godfather, who's not like related to me, he's just my godfather. So they were probably best friends or whatever growing up.
Yeah.
Basically like operated some huge like drug ring from like they had like an underground tunnel that went from Naco, Mexico to Naco, Arizona or whatever. And they were just like running running drugs, right? And so there was this huge like DEA investigation, and they catch the people that are actually running drugs first, and then it all goes from there, and they eventually get to the people who are running it, right? So like my dad and my godfather were the last people to get caught. But anyways, my dad eventually gets caught because people, tell on people or whatever.
Yeah.
And so my dad goes to prison, right? Well, my mom had a little drug problem, so that got worse when my dad went to prison, and she really, I don't think ever worked. Like when I don't remember her working when I was a kid. So like my dad was the one that worked, and like my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my mom had at some point gotten into drugs. And so once my dad went to prison, things kind of fell apart because my mom didn't
have that
be a mom.
Yeah, she didn't have the money coming in to take care of you guys.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Oh shit. Okay,
so her best
friend
at the time, like her friend at the time, I don't know if they were best friends, but like her friend at the time is actually the one who called DCS or whatever they call on my mom, because my mom had left us with her friend for a few days, and I obviously don't know like what conversations were or weren't had, but the lady ended up calling whoever she needed to, and then that's when we got taken from our parents.
Shit. So did she leave you with like this lady for like a extended period of time, and then she was like,
I want to say it was like 3 days. I think it was 3 days. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 3 days.
And then,
did she? Was your mom gonna come back, or is that the moment you guys knew that she left you guys?
She probably would have came back eventually, but like, I don't know where she would go like at all. But like when my dad first went to prison, she kind of like, I mean, I remember there being like all these guys, like gangster guys, like in our house. Like she'd party with all these guys, and like, she just, I don't know, she was not being a mom.
did she try to get you guys back, or did she just like too deep in the drugs at the time?
Yeah, I think she was too deep in the drugs, because I remember like when we were at that initial shelter, they allow visitation there. It has to be supervised because it's, right when the kid gets taken away. So the parents have to earn, that kind of stuff. So she never showed up. I don't think, maybe one visit, but like really she never passed her drug, analysis, the UAs that they have to do. Yeah. And so they wouldn't they don't let you see your kid if you're still on drugs. And so she just, never showed up. So we'd have like a weekly visit scheduled, and we'd be waiting in like the office area. Yeah. And she'd never show up.
And how long was your dad in prison for? Because he couldn't come visit you during all this because he's in prison, right? So
correct. Yeah. So my dad was in prison for, I want to say 9. So my dad got out of prison right before I graduated high school. So I was 17 at the time. He got sentenced to 9 years in prison. But what was that? 11 to 17 is what he served.
Okay. So he was like,
so a little bit
of course, right when he gets out, you're like about to turn 18 and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like basically like I'm graduating high school when he gets out. Yeah. And so, I already have a baby at that time. So yeah. I'm going to go off and live my own life. Right. So like, yeah.
So at what point in this timeline did you get pregnant?
So I got pregnant when I was 16 years old. I was going into my senior year of high school.
Okay. And then you were still in the group home?
Yes, at this time at this time actually is when I moved in with my aunt. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
How was the situation with your aunt when you got pregnant?
Oh, well, they were very, my aunt, my sister's, or my mom's sister, she was just like, hey, like, I wrote them up. I remember with my best friend at the time on the phone, I wrote this long letter to them, like telling them that I was sorry. And like, I think I wrote the same letter to my dad. I don't know. But basically like, that that's how I told them I was pregnant. I wrote this like long letter
out loud.
Yeah, I did not like go face to face with this. Okay. So they call me into their room, after they read the letter and like they, find out about everything. And, they were really nice, but they were like, look, your uncle, he was a nurse at the time. Your uncle just has to work a shift and we'll pay for your abortion. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I never once like
that's what I wanted.
that never crossed my mind, like, as an
Yeah.
option, like at that age. I was just like, oh, well, I'm having the kid, obviously, like,
Yeah.
like I never for once like thought that I would do anything other than have my child,
Yeah.
And so I think they were a little upset, they're like, well, his other niece like had an abortion, like it's okay. And I was just like, dude, what are you even saying to me?
Yeah.
And
They're
so
trying to say, hey, we trying to give you a better future, baby girl. What are you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah, that's basically that is literally what they were saying. They're like, look, you're young, like you don't have a lot of resources, like you need to like go to all this stuff, and really a baby you should not be having at this age. But I didn't even consider it. I knew what I wanted. I knew that that was not an option for me.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna be a mom.
Yeah,
Fuck you
I'm a big
and your
mom.
couch. I'm just kidding.
Fuck
Kick
you.
my ass out, I guess.
Yeah. So did they make you leave or did they let you stay?
No, so like my aunt was just very much like, I'm just going to tell you right now that I will not watch your baby. So you figure out your school stuff, you figure out everything, you want to have this baby, you figure it out. And I'm like, okay, and so, so when you have a baby, they can't go
That's
to
what they always say.
Yeah.
Well, you
They
can't
always say.
daycare. The babies cannot go to daycare until they have like a certain amount of vaccines or whatever. So it's 6 weeks old is the earliest a child can go to daycare. So missing 6 weeks of high school is kind of hard.
Frowned upon. Yeah. Like you can't do that.
Right. So actually one of the girls from the group home, one of the ladies that I saw, she watched my baby while I went to high school until he could get into daycare. So I went back to high school at like the 3 week, after 3 weeks of having him. And I went back to high school and she picked him up every day and she watched him for me. Like, no questions asked. Like she gave him baths. Like she, like, I mean, I trusted her. She's a mom too. And she helped raise me, but yeah, she really helped me a lot. Like she didn't have to do that,
Yeah. That's fucking cool. See, I didn't know any of that part. For some reason, I'm just like, I knew you had the baby, and I obviously because I know him, he's my nephew.
He's grown now.
Yeah, he's a grown ass adult dude, but he owes me $50. I hope he listens to this. I hope he listens to this, and he has my phone number for that.
If not, you'll be getting a visit real soon. No,
right. I'm gonna use that tunnel. I'm just kidding. But so at this point, after you have the baby, your dad gets out of prison. Do you when do you talk to your parents again after all this? Like, did you have contact with your mom during any of this, or did you kind of just ghost?
My dad was very consistent, like with his communication. He, called me at the group home all the time, and he wrote me letters. Like we wrote letters all the time. So like my dad was and we visited him. Actually, the staff actually would take me, because I was the only one there, to Tucson. And that's, where my dad was in prison, and wait in their cars or whatever, like while I had a visit with my dad. So I saw my dad during this whole time, and I talked to him on the phone, wrote letters. He wrote me, that kind of thing. But my mom, on the other hand, like I said in the beginning, she really didn't ever show up to her visits. Her rights as a parent were eventually severed. So basically she had no rights as my mom. Like she, if anything ever happened to me, she's basically in the system's eyes, like she has no rights to me.
Yeah.
However, when I was in Tucson initially, there was a couple, when I was living in like some shady ass places, there was a couple times that I did contact my mom myself, and my mom would pick me up from these like group homes or foster homes, or like me living, like being out on the streets for a week or whatever. Like my mom would come pick me up and we'd hang out for like a day or two, and then I'd turn myself in and go back into foster care. And but never any consistent visiting ever from her, or contact at all, actually.
And so when your dad got out, did you ever like go back with him with the baby and stuff, or he had to do a lot of stuff when he got out, right?
Yeah, like I don't remember the months that he got out, but I think it was already around the time of my graduation, or like within a couple months. I want to say maybe January of 2004 maybe is when he got out, and I graduated in May, of 2004. So he went back to Tucson, so at that point in my life, I wanted to graduate high school and like, get on with my life. there would be no purpose for me to move with my dad
Go
at that
back
point.
with your dad. Yeah.
Mhm.
You were an adult at that point.
And it
And
was
then-
probably hard for him to get us back anyways because he had been in prison so long, and like I don't know if his rights were severed, but I'm assuming they were. Because my brother and sister never went back to my dad. They went back to him temporarily, but like on the down low. Like they basically were acting like they still lived with my grandma, but they were like living with my dad.
Okay.
From what I understand, yeah.
From what you remember.
Damn, they were sneaking in there.
Yeah.
And then, so out of you and your siblings, your brother and your sister kind of followed down a different path than you, right?
Yeah. So both my siblings, my brother and my sister,
They're trappers.
are
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, they're both in prison actually. I've never been to prison. But yeah, so they definitely went down a different path than I did, yes. Which
And
is interesting because they
I was
were
just
raised
playing, dude.
by,
I
like,
didn't
one
think that was
person.
real.
No, yeah, they did not choose they did not make some good choices, okay?
You just like thought I was asking you, and then you'd be like, yeah, no, like there's a president of like the United States.
No, one's a doctor. I'm just kidding. One's
Yeah.
a lawyer. Duh.
I was like, one's like works at a gas station, one works at Walmart. You know, something
Yeah,
simple.
for
Like, nah, I'm
real.
like, they're trappers. You're like, yeah, for real though. And I'm like, oh,
You're all, yeah, they're in prison, and you're all, oh
Yeah.
shit.
I was
Yeah,
just playing,
so-
but yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I had all these like different placements. Like I probably had 20 placements. I don't know. And they had a consistent like upbringing, like, you know, with family. They were raised by family, and they did not follow down. They did not go to college. I don't think they graduated high school. Yeah,
They
so
wanted that easy money.
apparently so.
Can you get me in contact? No, I'm just kidding.
I
But with
times.
do you talk to either of them?
I actually do not talk to them. So my brother, like, you know, he's 2 years younger than me. So we were always what I would consider like really close, you know, like we grew up like a lot of our childhood together. So my brother, I actually did keep in contact with until he went to prison. And you know, he came and lived with me for a little while in Phoenix, and but I don't talk to him anymore since he went to prison. He wrote me a couple letters, and I just was really busy at the time, and I've never, you know, unfortunately wrote him back. So yeah, I haven't kept in contact with him. My sister, on the other hand, we've had a little, you know, we've had some rough times, my sister and I. You know, so she is 7 years younger than me.
Life. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, she's 7 years younger than me. She, both of them had a drug problem. My sister, you know, at some point let her come and stay with me. She wasn't 18 yet. She was, you know, still a teenager. But she had admitted she had a problem. So I let her come live with me. I was pregnant at the time. I was a nurse, and she ended up, you know, stealing my car. So after that, it kind of just, you know, pressed charges and everything. She ends up going to rehab. And just, we've never really since then had a good relationship at all. I felt like, you know, when she got out of prison, she was acting a little entitled, and I just, you know, I have a hard time with people using their childhood as like an excuse for things, and just, you know, I don't know, there was just a lot of things that I couldn't ever really have a close relationship with her.
Do you want to talk? We're not talking about her anymore. I'm mad at her. I forgot what she's done. We can't even talk about her now because we're angry. Your brother, do you want to talk to him again?
Yeah, like, I mean, I wouldn't not talk to him, you know, like I wouldn't not talk to my sister either. I just wouldn't be the person that like reaches out, or I wouldn't be the person that, you know, like it's like, oh, we're family, because, you know, Hispanics are really big on the whole family thing, you know. And, you know, my dad actually and I like got into an argument a few months ago because I happened to be around when my sister called, and my dad was like, oh yeah, let's talk to your sister. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good. And he really got upset. And I'm just like, dude, like we're family, but it's, I don't know. That's not all, you know, just because someone's your family. Yeah. Like I don't know. It's, you know, like she did a lot of more than just steal my car.
Yeah. You can
so
only
you can forgive all you want, but it's like, you can't forget the shit that they did to you.
Oh yeah. And like, I have nothing, like I actually have worked in addiction like for years, like as a nurse, off and on. It's like pediatrics and addiction have been my specialty, not at the same time, but like, you know what I mean? Like they're two completely different areas, but those are the two areas. I know. Those are the two areas that I've been good at, drawn to, passionate about, whatever. So I have nothing really like, I don't have a problem with her because she's an addict. Like it's more than just that. So
yeah, like Jesus said, you can forgive them for yourself, but you cannot forget all the shit that they did, because like
it's hard. Yeah.
The problem I have, like I have a sibling who's an addict and a parent who's an addict, and like you can forgive them, but they say so much stuff and like do so much stuff, and it's like, okay, so like now you're sorry, but if you do heroin, then you're just gonna steal all our stuff.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, like, it's hard.
Have you done heroin, Miranda? This is crazy, baby. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, that's how they act. They're like, oh well, I was down bad, like I was, and I'm like, I don't care, bro. Like I forgave you, I trusted you, then you relapse, and then you just like turn back into this old person who did all this bad stuff.
Right. And it's like, and it's really hard to gain trust, like, and it's, I'm sure it's hard for the addict too, because they feel like, oh, this person's never going to trust me anyways. I might as well, so like, I can see both sides of it, but it is really hard, to forgive and forget, or like completely really trust somebody that's done a lot of things that you don't agree with, that are hurtful to people.
Well, and then, I've dated someone who's an addict, and like what you mentioned is, for the addict themselves, he used to say like, because I would ask him all the time, like, are you on something right now? Like, did you do it today? Are you gonna, whatever? Because being me, like I was already high strung, and then like having ADHD, I literally hyper fixated on the fact that he's an addict. He's got to be doing this all the time. And I got really crazy about like, where is it hidden? Like, what are you doing? And I would always ask him, did you do it today? Just tell me the truth. And he'd be like, no, but I should do it because I'm going to get accused of it anyways. And like, that's what he kept doing. So it turned into this whole thing of, well, it doesn't matter because you're going to accuse me of it. So I'll just do it anyways if I'm being blamed. And I'm like, okay. And then they're like, it's your fault of an addict. Because I'm like,
right. Because they can't take,
yeah. I'm like, it is not my fault.
Definitely are not taking accountability at all.
Never. That's the other thing is that I would like, it's so hard because they're just going to blame everyone else for their problem. Now I'm all tricked. Look what you've done. I'm just kidding.
I'm like, didn't you bring it up yourself? What do you mean?
I did. I said, look what you've done. I can't take accountability for this conversation.
I know, right? But I have met some addicts. I mean, I've, like I said, I've worked in that field for a long time. So I have met people who are very, they admit that they've fucked a lot of people over. They admit, they've done some shitty things, and their whole life revolves around, being sober, and it takes a lot for them. Like every day they have to wake up and make that choice, like no matter how many years it's been, they live with that forever. And people who are really serious about their recovery and their addiction aren't going to blame other people, because they know, they know that they've done a lot of things that they're not proud of, but they're very strong in the fact that they're like, you know what, this person is going to blame me for the rest of my life, but I want this person in my life. And I understand why they don't trust me.
Yeah. And that's the difference this time. So like my brother has gotten sober several times, and this time, he just got out of prison a couple months ago, and his outlook is different this time. Like when you ask him about it, he'll say, he's more honest.
He's like, I'll do it again. No,
he's like, and I do it again. No, but he doesn't want to do it again. And this is where my like, I don't know, like this is where I feel like just like a judgy piece of crap, because he like wants to talk about it.
You're more conflicted about it.
Yeah, I'm super conflicted about it. That's the best way to describe it, because he's clean. He's actually has a job, which I've never seen before. He's saving up money. Like he's living with my dad and my stepmom, and he's like working really hard and staying clean and like doing all these programs and like actually focused on it. But then like deep down in the back of my mind, I'm like, but for how long? And like, I don't want to think that way, but that's what happens. That's what happens. Like, because the past 28 years of my life, like we have a huge age gap in between us. I mean, he's 51 or something like that, and I'm 28. So like, it's not like we've really had much in common and got time to like hang out. But all of those years for me were just seeing him you know, on drugs and in prison. And
it's just a cycle that never
it's just a
stops.
constant cycle that I saw. And so like now I want to have all this faith in him, and I look at him and I'm like, I'm so like, I am proud of him that he's clean and he's doing really good. But like there's something deep down, like I do the same thing with my mom. My mom's been, you know, like doing way better for a long time, but then like there's always something deep down that's like, this is gonna be the time where she's gonna embarrass me again, you know.
Right, yeah.
Like it happens. But
And then at that one party, she was like, ooh,
yeah, like
ooh, you know, well, it's hard, like yeah, it's, I mean, and you know, I mean, it creates a lot of issues in her life, I think, later on, like, you know, as far as trust goes. But I mean, it is hard, you know, and sometimes we can't ever get rid of that thought in the back of our mind that, you know, at any moment they can change, you know, it can happen. They can relapse, you know, and it's. Well,
and I feel like that trust that you have for, like, if you're raised with addicts and you have siblings or parents or a significant other or anyone who is an addict, I feel like not only does it make you think that about them, but then you start to think about it in like everyday life. Like you have a new partner who's actually polite and like nice, but then you think like, oh, well, so was this last person. But at any second, they can become a meth
They're
addict.
They're going to change. Yeah.
Something's going to change. And like even like the slightest change, like they could just be having a bad day. And they
exactly.
Like, are you on drugs? Are you lying? Yeah, like, and it sucks. So like I've gone to a lot of therapy like over the past year, and I've like worked on that because one person was a lying addict, stealing, cheating jerk does not mean that everyone is.
Right.
But happens to the best of us, dude.
You're like, Jesus. I'm like, well.
But he's like sad one day, and I'm like,
some people never recover and they die of, you know, their addiction, and it's unfortunate and it's sad, but you know, with addiction, they have to really work and they have to really want it themselves. You know, you can't force it on them, and it's just, it is what it is.
I'm gonna die with a Gundam in my hand, Miranda. Fuck.
Oh, for real. Well, like, no, that's the other part is like when you love someone who's an addict, it doesn't matter in what aspect you love them, but the person from the outside, this is the part that they don't ever get to see when they're like, you know, in active addiction.
And they'll never understand.
They won't. They'll never understand. Like, is seeing it happen and like just knowing like, I want you to just get clean. Like, I want to be able to leave you at my house and not ask you where my wedding ring is because you were alone for 4 hours. Like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want to feel like you're gonna screw me over or steal my
or steal my bank account information.
Finished all the weed, you know, Jesus. I'm like, I'm sorry. No, just get
right, exactly. Like you don't want to sit there and like have all these bad thoughts about them.
And accuse them of stuff, because if they really are not doing something, that's not cool, you know, to accuse them. But it's very, very hard to, when something goes missing, or, you know, like it's very.
Addicts are literally the best liars. Is the thing.
Oh yeah, they're very manipulative.
I don't want to say every addict in the world is a liar. Like, I'm not trying to get.
They know what they're doing. They know how to get what they want.
Yeah, but like they will manipulate you into being like, bro, you know I've been clean. You know I've been clean.
And it really messes with your mind, actually.
It does. And you're thinking like, okay, like, I'm sorry I accused you. And then, you know, they go to jail, and then a month later they're like, I'm sorry, but I did steal this from you, and I did do this. And you're like, you lied to my face. You swore, like, literally, when I was dating an addict, I'm like, you promised me that you didn't do this or like whatever. And they would say, I swear on my dad's grave, dude,
and
on my grandma's life. Look me straight in the eye, cry, dude, and be like, I swear on my life, I swear on my dad's grave, I swear on everything I've ever owned, like on God, like whatever. And then the next day you find them in the line, they're like, well, like, I knew you'd get mad. That's what they.
Or you're just accusing me of it anyways. Same thing, like as before we were talking about. You're accusing me of it anyways. Might as well do it. Like,
exactly. Like,
you're accusing me of cheating. I might as well cheat. It's the same thing. Like,
but that's what they would do, and it's like,
we end up in, like, I feel like people who are not everybody obviously, but like, you know, you and I or whatever, gone through some stuff, and we ended up, you know, like with these partners that are similar, and it's really hard to just be supportive and not have those thoughts in the back of our mind and not feel like, okay, maybe I am like being a bitch or whatever, and like maybe I am the person that's causing these problems, and it's just it's a hard cycle to get out of. That's for sure.
It is, especially
because you don't choose them knowing that, you know what I mean? Like, people say, oh, well, you attract this kind of person, but like it's
like, if I
how
had
do you
known
know?
this person
Like,
was a narcissist,
how do you know that you're attracting this kind of person? Like,
exactly,
when
like,
you love somebody, you don't want to give up on them, and so it's a very difficult situation. If I don't forgive my mom, I'm holding on. I'm forgiving my mom for myself, not for her. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, she has her own whatever, but for me, I want to let go of those feelings of like negativity and like hatred towards my mom. Like, because how am I going to ever grow as a person or like live some kind of life that I enjoy if I just hate somebody so much, or blame them for all my problems? Like, I basically was like, I'm going to forgive her, and it is what it is, and this is my life, and move forward or whatever.
Well, and I've been, like I said earlier, I've been going to therapy, and my therapist told me something really similar, is that you don't have to forgive this person until you're ready, but the only
Mhm.
person that's getting hurt from you being angry and not forgiving this person is you. They don't care.
Right.
Your
right.
addict mom, your addict brother, your addict ex.
They don't think,
they don't
yeah.
they don't care about this. They don't care if you're mad.
Mhm.
They're living their life. They're doing
It
their
doesn't
best thing.
affect them. It affects you only.
Yeah, you're the only one. You're sitting here with all these bottled up emotions and hatred for someone who
Making
isn't
yourself
thinking twice.
miserable, really.
Yeah. So, like, you can choose to forgive them when you're ready, but you don't even have to tell them. You don't have to call them and say,
Nope.
"Hey, yo, I forgive you. You're right." No, you can
You just
forgive
have
them.
to yourself feel like you forget. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's what I ended up doing, is being like, "What am I doing? Like, this is literally just me. I'm just making myself more sad and angry because I'm not
Exactly.
forgiving these people." So,
Mhm.
yeah. And then she also had me write a letter to my ex, not give it to him, but just write down, like, the things that this person's active abuse and addiction and narcissism, all this bad stuff that I had to experience,
Mhm.
what it did to improve my life now. So if you didn't, like, basically thanking them for,
Right.
like,
You're like, I'm a bad bitch named
abuse.
Cinnamon now, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I didn't enjoy this
I'm
abuse
a
and
boss ass
watching.
bitch. Okay.
Exactly. Like, I didn't enjoy this abuse. I didn't enjoy having to go through all this trauma and all these terrible things and experiences. And, like, as you and Jesus were there. Like, I was sad. I was like a super unhappy person. I was constantly just like, oh my God, I fucking hate this person. I was just a constant complaint. Like, how are you? Well, so and so did this and this. The wall has 10 holes in it. So and so's shooting up in the bathroom. Whatever.
Literally, there's no positive feelings that are coming
Never
out of
ever a positive thing ever. And
Mhm.
now, what do I have? I have sold my business. I have a new business. I have a new boyfriend who is actually nice. Who poor guy gets accused of bad things by accident. But I mean, like, I am working through it. I'm doing good.
Yeah, you're working on
but,
it.
like,
You're being mindful of these things.
Yeah, I'm mindful of these situations.
On
now, like, I have a
site.
new
Tell
car.
them on site.
On fucking site.
shit.
Like, but that letter did help, because, like, I could write the letter and say, hey, you did all these terrible things, but now because of that, I am a new person. I've lost 35 pounds. I have a great life. I'm in a new place. I have a new business. My dogs are happy. I get to spend time with them. Like, I have friends. Because he used to tell me all the time, like, your friends don't even like you. Like, just so you know, when I'm not around, you're going to have no one. Like, Danielle's not
Because
going to be
that's
there.
how they want to make you feel.
Yeah,
Like,
Danielle.
so
He literally
leave,
said, Danielle won't be there for you. Jesus won't be there. If you think they actually like you, you're wrong. Like, they just feel bad for you. That's what he was like. They just feel bad for you, so they stick around. And when I'm gone, you're gonna have no one. Like, who are you gonna talk to? And
it really, it's unfortunate because over time, when you're in those kind of relationships, it's hard to recognize when it's happening at first, like, because it's little things that make you question a lot of yourself, and, like, it's just it turns into, like I told you, when I realized that, like, how your ex was, and I was like, dude, I don't want the same future for you like that I had, or I don't want you to end up with a kid. And then, like, in this type of relationship, because what happens is you end up at the end of the relationship, you're not even recognizable to your own self when you really think about it. You're not the person, you're not you anymore, really.
Well, you don't know who you are.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Because you haven't lived for yourself or made your own decisions.
Yeah.
Not based on, like, not making this person mad when you're home. Like, that kind of thing.
It's hard too that you're like, it's disappointing. You're ashamed too of yourself because you're like, how did I like, I'm a strong person. Like, I've been through so much, like my childhood, like I've teen mom, like a nurse, like I feel like I'm, a decent person.
She's like 60 for fiance.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm a decent human being, and then I end up in this relationship that, like similar to yours, and it's just like, how the hell did I even let that happen? And it is embarrassing, and it's, but it is just abuse, and you don't you don't know, and It's
Well, and it gets to that point where you said how it's embarrassing. You don't want to tell people because, like,
Mhm.
one day I'm telling you, like, I hate him. He punched a hole in the wall.
Mhm.
He said that he hopes me and all my friends die. And then the next day I'm like, oh, I'm at going to a movie
For
with so and so.
dinner,
Like,
yeah,
talk to you later.
I know.
And then it's just like, God, bro, that's embarrassing as hell. And like
It's
now
hard.
that once you're like out of it and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, now I've got to like relearn how to live. From my Stockholm syndrome that I was apparently experiencing when I was living back there. Like, what do I do? But no, shit's crazy.
Yeah, we should make an
And
episode about about that.
about all of it, dude. All the crazy things.
About
Like
these narcissists that we dated for years.
yeah, we can read
Some
some
crazy
text
shit,
messages,
actually.
bro. Yeah, that's some wild
Mhm.
shit, dude. And Jesus is all sitting up there, all depressed now.
Just like, wow, guys, shut up.
Contemplating life.
We were talking about something else.
I'm
About
like,
your damn ADHD, both of you.
I know.
I'm like, dude, just let it happen.
All right, he's just watching us talk, and he's like, so, anyways, thanks for
He's
tuning
like, "So
in.
guys, here's the next question."
Right? Do you have any questions for us, Jesus or
It's like
Danielle?
we out. No, just kidding.
Oh, this is dumb.
Okay, so I was like, alrighty. Just to finish this up, we're gonna ask one last question.
Okay, so would you rather have explosive diarrhea during sex or have the person you're having sex with have explosive diarrhea on you?
Oh God, that is like really, really hard. I feel like I could probably be the one that's a little more forgiving. So I guess I'm gonna have to go with the one that's receiving because I would die if I was the one that had explosive diarrhea on someone. Literally, I would just die, like right then and there, like
I
die.
think I would pick the same.
To be
because
like,
at
well, I'm never gonna talk to him again.
Yeah, never ever, like ever, like I'm gonna vanish.
I'm moving
out of-
cities.
Yeah, I'm
No, just-
moving states at this point.
I think the
I'm
same.
going
Like,
across country. I might even go to a different country at this point. I don't know.
I think it's the
Damn.
same, dude. Like if someone, I would be much more forgiving and like try to make them not feel bad, maybe make fun of them
Right.
later. But like if I did it, I would
You're
literally
like, well,
never.
at least I
would
don't poop
get a
in
whole new
bed.
group of friends.
No, just kidding.
I just don't poop on people.
Like as soon as they had attitude, I'd be like, whatever, dude. At least I didn't have explosive diarrhea.
Yeah, you would. You'd always hold that grudge. You'd always
I
have
would.
that as ammo.
I would every time. Like we'd be somewhere and I'd be like, do it, or I'm telling everyone you had explosive diarrhea on the bed.
That's another reason why I'd prefer it to be the receiving.
So, yeah, exactly. You
person
can
on
use it. You can use it later. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to the Mimi and Weezy show.
And we out.
Boom. Oh, we didn't even thank Danielle.
Yeah.
Yeehaw, brother.